Welcome, everybody. We even got Ann Siebert out. Yeah. Hey, thank you so much for joining us here today. And I just want to say, without you, we would not be here at this moment. So as your governor, I am honored to have you here. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate the hard work that you've done to get us to this point. I'm not going to make the mistake of doing the thank yous, because we'd be here for 48 hours. So you know who you are. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. We gather here today to launch the first single-payer healthcare system in America. To do in Vermont what has taken too long. Have a healthcare system, the best in the world, that treats healthcare as a right and not a privilege. Where healthcare follows the individual, isn't required by an employer. That's a huge jobs creator. Where we all win and we all pay. Most importantly, a healthcare system that is sustainable, that spends our healthcare dollars making Vermonters healthy, not on insurance company profits and not on waste and inefficiency. We will get this done in Vermont. Yeah! We have a few challenges, and I believe that taking on tough issues, getting tough things done, is going to lead to a bright future for jobs and economic opportunities for all Vermonters. As a business person who comes to this job as governor from small business, I know firsthand that the biggest obstacle to job growth is the 10, 20, 30% increases in insurance premiums, where we as employers who so badly want to cover our employees consistently send more and more money to insurance companies for less and less coverage, asking Vermonters, our employees, to pay more and more of their share in an unsustainable system that will both bankrupt us and make it impossible for our small rural healthcare providers who do such a great job delivering quality care to survive in a small rural state. Our hospitals, our doctors, our nurses, our diverse healthcare community, along with our small businesses, cannot survive under the current system. That's a big one. We need to fix it. This bill will. Yeah. Yeah. I want to say a word to the many Vermonters that I meet every day. The 40,000 who have no insurance coverage and wake up every morning wondering whether this will be their day. The 150,000 Vermonters, that's 1 in 4 Vermonters, who wake up every day knowing they have insurance, but knowing that they're underinsured. That if they really get sick, and eventually, unfortunately, we all do, that when that day comes, they may lose their house, their car, their economic security, because underinsurance is no insurance at all. That's what we need to fix. So this bill that we will sign shortly is both an opportunity and an obligation. It's a challenge to all of us to design a cost containment system that'll work. Folks keep saying to me, well, you got to ration care. You got to pay your healthcare providers less. I keep saying no. It's not about reducing care. It's about paying our providers enough so that they can thrive, so that our doctors and nurses and healthcare providers can do healthcare again instead of being second-guessed by insurance companies and under-reimbursed by a healthcare system that is driving them out of practice. Healthcare providers want to do what they were trained to do, make you healthy. This bill is going to give them the chance to do it in Vermont. It's going to bring them to Vermont. It's going to allow them to do what they were trained to do, deliver quality health care to Vermonters. Let's get that done. We wouldn't be here today without the help of many of you. And I'm going to first take my hat off to the Vermont legislature.
Yes.
At a time in America where politicians do more partisanship than they do getting things done for their constituents. At a time in American politics where we are all fed up with the lack of progress, with a lack of common sense, with a lack of compromise, and with a lack of unity, this Vermont legislature did what no other legislature is doing. Came together, worked together, debated real issues, and passed this bill. And that is a tribute to democracy in Vermont. We're going to hear shortly from some of the folks who made that happen. The Speaker of the House, Shap Smith, the President Pro Tem, John Campbell, and the chairs of the healthcare committees in both the House and the Senate that did extraordinary work to figure this one out. Representative Mark Larson and Senator Claire Ayer. To all four of them and the other 146 members of this legislature, I can't tell you how grateful I am. Did I get the number right? Oh, what did I say? Sorry. You gotta remember, I started out in the House. We don't forget our roots, right? That's right. They always accused me of running the Senate, and I just annexed it, right? 176 is not what we're looking for. First, we're going to hear from a few of the folks that helped make this moment possible. Dr. Deb Richter, who came to Vermont as a doctor from New York, knowing that after watching patients suffer, after watching patients lose their life because of a lack of coverage, she decided out of the 50 states to go to Vermont and make people healthy, and in her spare time work for a single-payer healthcare system that was going to allow her to practice medicine again and make sure that no one lost their life from a lack of coverage. Without Deb's commitment, we wouldn't be here today. And she speaks for so many others. Ellen Oxfeld, James Haslin, the entire team that's worked so hard, obviously the folks at VPIRG. You'll be hearing from Cassandra Gekas, from the healthcare advocate from VPIRG. Cassandra did an extraordinary job. Jennifer Schneider, who was diagnosed with cancer, ovarian cancer last year, and will share her story with us. Thank you, Jennifer, for your courage. And Julie Leinberger from Windham County, who is a business person who understands this from the inside. I give you Dr. Deb Richter.
I must say, on a personal note, this is probably one of the better days, the best days of my life. I would say, and I think on behalf of the primary care physicians in this state and all of the patients that we have tried to serve in this broken system, this bill is such a major step forward. And again, establishing healthcare as a public good is not anywhere in this nation do we consider it that. We consider healthcare a commodity to be bought and sold on the marketplace. But we're going to hear all kinds of scare stories that this is a thoughtless experiment or that it is too bold. But I would remind you that every other industrialized country does what we are trying to do, and they do it for far less money. They live longer, and they get better quality care. So it's time for Vermont to join the rest of the industrialized world. So there are many people to thank for getting us this far, as the governor mentioned. There are many organizations that worked for years to get us this far. But one of the main reasons we are here today is because we had the legislature that decided that this was the right thing to do, led by Speaker Shap Smith, and Senate Pro Tem John Campbell, and we owe them a huge debt of gratitude. And they made this their top priority. And to all the legislators who voted for this bill, we thank them profusely for doing that, because it was bold, and they stuck their necks out, and we have to stand behind them and endorse their candidacy. But really, the special thanks, in my view, goes to our governor, Peter Shumlin, who made a pledge. If he were elected governor, he would make Vermont the first state in the nation to enact a single-payer, publicly financed system that pays for health care for all Vermonters. And how many politicians do you know that really do what they say they're going to do? We will hear this is an impossible goal, but all along, people have said that it was impossible to get this far. But here we are. And now the real work begins. We have a long road ahead of us to get this bill in place. Let's get started, but after the party.
Thank you, Deb. I now give you Jennifer Schneider. Jennifer, thank you so much for being here.
Hi, sorry, but I am going to look down at my paper. I apologize, but it's going to happen, or else you would all be very sorry. My name is Jennifer Schneider, and I want to take this opportunity to thank you for letting me be a part of this historic moment. Yay. It's going to help make sure every Vermonter gets the care they need, when they need it, where they need it, and at a price that they can afford. Yes, hopefully.
Yes.
As a kid, yes.
Yes.
As a kid, my family spent many summers in Vermont. We worked hard to get to know the community and took part in town events such as square dancing, town hall dinners, plays, and outdoor activities. This is leading somewhere. While living in Belmont, our summers in Belmont, Vermont, over 30 years ago, my family joined fellow residents in a time capsule ceremony where members of the community each contributed something of significance, creating a memory together that has stuck with me for all this year. I have no idea if it was ever opened, but it's there somewhere. It's kind of exciting. 16 years ago, I decided summers just weren't enough, so I moved to Burlington. I love Vermont. I consider it my home. My partner and I bought a house and have worked as caregivers in the school system for years. Life was good, and as a healthy individual, worries about insurance coverage and health care were far from my mind, even though my parents were constantly bugging me, you need to have health insurance, and yelling, okay, I'll get health insurance. I was a runner, took good care, ate well, all that stuff. But like many Vermonters, my life circumstances suddenly changed. And I'm not alone with this story, I realize that. In August 2009, at age 40, I was diagnosed with late-stage ovarian cancer. The toll that this illness took made me unable to work full-time, which I wanted to continue to do, which meant losing my health insurance. I wanted to stay involved and work part-time, but knew that it would price me out of state healthcare programs like VHAP and Catamount. Facing no other choice, I quit my job and enrolled in VHAP, which luckily covered much of the treatment and tests that I needed to try and stay healthy. So luckily that worked out. Flotrelin was very helpful. During the period of my diagnosis, my mom's health was also in decline. She had uterine cancer and she was being treated in New York City. Not only was I stressed about my own diagnosis and facing the reality that I was losing my mother, but we both had to fight the insurance system to make sure that our care was covered. I had surgery in December of '09. In January, my mother's health took a turn for the worse and was in the ICU. I wanted to spend time with her in New York City, but was in the middle of my own treatment. I tried my hardest to schedule my chemo at Sloan Kettering so that I could be close to her, but they would not accept my health insurance. A private oncologist down there, my mother's oncologist, said, well, we could do it for you, but it'll cost $10,000 for one treatment. I said, no, can't do that. So as a result, I had to leave my mother and my family just for 2 or 3 days, but it was one of the hardest things I've ever done, is to leave her in the ICU with tubes in her, it was bad, tubes in her mouth, she couldn't talk, she knew I was there. I said to her, I'm leaving, I'll be back in a few days. Stay alive, please.